When you think about blockchain and decentralization, you would understand the solution to be immutable, meaning you can't change anything on the ledger. Or perhaps there is no one main authority figure who plays the role of God. Well, that's what really decentralization means to us in the blockchain scene. But what if I tell you a very popular blockchain solution which has raised over $4 billion is going against that exact principle, and they do not make any apologies about it? You may agree or disagree with their version of decentralization, but at least I know one person is definitely inagreeable to EOS playing God. That's right, the blockchain project is called EOS. A Reddit post by the user AUTI9003, AUTI9003, includes a screenshot of blockchain protocol EOS exerting its authority on the network. Apparently, someone reached out to the EOS network and has claimed that his private key was stolen in a phishing attack. And what comes next might be shocking to blockchain purists who do not believe in the power of authority being placed in the hands of one man, or in this case, a consortium of few arbitrators in EOS deciding the fate of people in the network. So in this case, the network chose one times Ben Gates as the arbitrator, who then issued a statement stating that under the powers afforded to me as an arbitrator under Article 7 of the Rules of Dispute Resolution, I, Ben Gates, rules that the EOS account in dispute should be returned to the claimant with immediate effect, and that the freeze over the assets within the said account is removed. This, ladies and gentlemen, reeks entirely of a centralized system. In a centralized system, you could bring your grievances to the people in power, and then perhaps they could turn things around for you. But this goes against the philosophy and principles and the grain of blockchain, which states that its peer-to-peer transaction is immutable. The responsibility lies in the hands of those of you who are using the network. In a YouTube interview with EOS CTO Daniel Larimer, he states that this sort of decentralization nature is not something that EOS is after. So what do you think about that? Is this something you support? Is this something you're against? Because EOS make no apologies about it. They do want to have that slightly centralized feel where a group of arbitrators, a consortium of 12 if you may, can play the role of God and make reversals to the network transaction.
I am a god.
Of course, the argument here is if you're not in favor of such behavior, well, then don't use EOS. On the other side of the argument, you could state that a lot of people who are very pro-centralized behavior because they do not want to take the responsibility upon themselves would kind of favor EOS.
I'd go with you, but I don't want to.
But the question I have is, if we really wanted the traditional centralization behavior, would we need to raise $4 billion for EOS to do exactly what we already have? So for EOS to come up and say that, you know what, we are somewhat decentralized, it's like saying, hey, the web is for everybody. You can go anywhere you want and make all the complaints you want, except we are the spider.
But this fly certainly didn't notice it.
The next piece of headline news comes out from Singapore. And despite a prominent Singaporean figure who talks very poorly about blockchain and cryptocurrencies, in fact, the rest of the Singapore government-owned bodies are actually moving quite far ahead with rolling out blockchain solutions. And as we all know, Singapore is the blockchain haven of the East. And in its latest report, Singapore Exchange (SGX), along with the Monetary Authority of Singapore (MAS) and partners like Nasdaq and Deloitte and Wanchain, have completed a delivery versus payment (DVP) blockchain trial where buyers' payments for securities can be handled on different blockchains simultaneously. This will increase operational efficiency and reduce settlement risk. In July this year, Singapore government-owned service vendor Crimson Logic announced plans for a cross-border blockchain network for global trade. And in October, Singapore-based Electricity and Gas Corporation (SP Group) launch a blockchain-based renewable energy certification marketplace for buying and selling of solar energy globally. This is great news because it shows the willingness of the Singapore government to embrace blockchain and to test it out on a global scale to see if it actually does work. If you've been in Singapore long enough, you know that there is a mascot for just about anything. Courtesy, cleanliness, saving water. Perhaps one day we might even see a mascot for a blockchain-friendly society. In Germany, an obscure but growing project called Lition is quickly becoming somewhat of a Robin Hood among its community. Running as a hybrid blockchain between Ethereum and SAP's private blockchain solution, Lition helps German citizens by getting cheaper energy sources by going directly to energy producers big and small. By bypassing the middleman in the marketplace, they take this cost saving and give it back to the users. For example, users can choose categories like wind, solar, or biomass and choose the provider and then pay them in euros. So what we are seeing here is a very good use of blockchain and fiat hybrid version that allows anybody, German citizens, to make use of this solution without actually dealing with cryptocurrency or knowing how blockchain really works. The bad news is that middlemen who depend on such services are now obsolete and going out of business. It's like the founders of Lition woke up one day dreaming of Captain Planet and thinking about how they can bring this solution to the German masses and create a multi-option energy service to save Germans some euros and efficiency.
Captain Planet!
From good news out of Germany, we now bring you news from South Korea, where a bad actor has put cryptocurrency again in another bad light. South Korean cryptocurrency exchange Purebit has apparently pulled off an exit scam and disappeared with $30 million worth of funds. On November 9, the management community of Purebit kicked everyone out of their social media groups and even kicked users out of their KakaoTalk, which is like their Telegram of Korea, and changed the title of the KakaoTalk chat group, which loosely translates to "I'm sorry." In 24 hours, nearly $10 million of Ethereum was moved out of Purebit's Ethereum address.
I'm so sorry.
It is cryptocurrencies like this that is giving the ecosystem a really bad name. Now, we're not sure what the South Korean government plans to do to intervene on this, or perhaps even tighten regulations around exchanges. But one thing is for sure, when you see a group changing its name to "I'm sorry" or "Hasta la vista, baby" or "Yippee-ki-yay," you better be the first one out the door with your funds. And that's all the news I have for you today. Well, don't forget Satoshi's quest is on. If you have been following us and following up with the clues, well, you guys might be in for a treat by 3rd January. So do click on our link below, join us on Rock the Block Live to be part of this global campaign, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Tomorrow